I've said before that whistleblowers are sort of elected by circumstance. The idea here is that we are a government that derives its legitimacy from the consent of the governed. But that consent is only meaningful if it's informed. Now, we're supposed to have a system of checks and balances to ensure that that is always the case. We know what's going on. We have the ability to cast our votes to direct the activities of our government. We have an executive that should be checked by the courts that should be directed by the Congress. And this sort of virtuous cycle is supposed to be founded on the idea of competition between them. However, things have changed increasingly over the existence of our nation from when we were first founded, and we were very allergic to the idea of a strong central power, to the very recent past, where we have a government that seems to be almost completely unrestrained by law or the Constitution. And we've had former government officials say things like, we do what's illegal immediately, the unconstitutional takes a little bit longer. But the idea here is that a nation is comprised of people, as is a community, as is a government, as is every structure in which we cooperate with one another. And we all have not just a right, but a responsibility to alert those around us, the other members of our society, of wrongdoing when and where we see it. Now, there were no whistleblower protection laws that applied to intelligence agency contractors like myself in my position. And as I gained seniority, as I gained awareness of what the government was doing, as I gained sort of higher and higher clearances and access to more and more classified information, I saw that the public declarations of government officials were very different from the actual reality of what was happening. In fact, we were operating beyond the law in a way that many argued was unconstitutional. And the courts have since confirmed that, declaring these programs likely unconstitutional and even calling them Orwellian in their scope. And it's important to understand, how did we get here? How did we reach a point where the individual is all that society can rely upon? Because, of course, we don't want the individual citizen, the individual conscience, to be the last safeguard. Now, giving false testimony to Congress is a felony in our country. And just a few months before the NSA activities showing that they had indiscriminately intercepted the communications of every American, as well as everyone else around the world, the 95% of the human population that lives beyond the borders of the United States, when we were seeing videotaped, sworn testimony by federal officials, it looked a lot like this.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
Now, in his defense, after that became quite publicly known to be false, he first said he was being too cute by half. And then when he realized that was a felony, he quickly amended that to saying he forgot about the program that was monitoring everyone in the country. Now, reasonable people can disagree about where we should draw the lines of surveillance policy. No one argues that we should shut down every surveillance program in the country. No one says we should list the names of everyone who's under surveillance on the newspaper on an individualized basis. But if we are to have a democracy, if we are to be partner to government rather than subject to it, we must know at least the broad powers and privileges that the government is claiming. We must know both what they are doing in our name and what they're doing against us, or else we're no longer directed by the public. We're ruled from above.